My Doordash people, how we doing? Your boy Simoto, I am back. Just something that I wanted to discuss or kind of talk about. As I'm seeing these changes happening, or just added things to what's already probably bad. And to me, it's probably an obvious thing, but as you can see by the thumbnail, with that said, we're kind of seeing a decline in orders. We're seeing a decline in pay, and I feel it's only going to get worse. With that said, and this is only from speaking on California and New York. And this is in regards to recently passed law that the New Yorkers are guaranteed a certain wage per hour. And California already has Prop 22 where we're kind of the similar thing. It's a guaranteed amount per hour, and if we don't make it, they'll make up the difference. Not sure what the two differences are, like from California's Prop 22 to New York's just law of making X amount of money minimum wage wise. But I mean, I live in California. It is what it is. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate that for some reason we have this law, and I can assume it's just because the cost of living and the wages are just not good enough for people to survive. And the way I see it is it's like that across the country. I don't see it as just California. It's just different here because, and I say California and New York, because it's costly to live here. Makes no difference to me. I've been here my whole life, so to me it's not considered costly because it's what I'm used to. I haven't known any different. I haven't given my chance to know any different, because the moment I do, that's when things then become expensive. So right now things aren't expensive to me because I've been in California my whole life. So it's all I know. And the way I am, I'm just out here. I hustle and make whatever money I need to make on top of me already having a government job. So like, I'm doing okay. I'm fine. But the obvious things noticing, I mean, from the Prop 22, I don't know if there's any other states that have similar laws like this that guarantee a certain wage. I think here with Prop 22, if you're not making, I don't know if it's $22, $23, $24, that whatever you do make, at the end of the week, they'll calculate everything that all the hours that you've driven, and whatever the formula is they use, they kind of want to make sure that they want to make sure it's a law that went into effect that you make X amount of money per hour. So what happens is at the end of the week, there is a pay adjustment that gets put in place. That pay adjustment then sends out a whatever amount that you didn't make, they will send that amount to you at the end of the week. So it's not daily when you cash out or anything like that. It's just at the end of your week. That's when they'll do the calculations, and at the end of the pay period, if they owe you $194, it's $194 that you'll get a couple days later when you get paid, when they'll direct deposit that amount. So that's the Prop 22 side. So the New York side, I just know that they passed it where they're guaranteed a certain wage, and I don't know if it was $19 or $20 an hour. But I can assume California, being that they passed that law, put a big dent in why the way things are the way they are, is because like they have to make up that money. So it's like if I go out and I make $10 in 1 hour, DoorDash has to foot the bill for the other $10, $12, $13, $14 for every hour that I don't make the 22 or whatever the minimum is. And I normally don't worry about it because most of the time I hit well over that. So it's very rare, and I always get a pay adjustment, but it's normally on the low side because I get paid normally so much from all my driving and the amounts of money that I make, that I don't really see that high pay adjustment that comes from DoorDash. And a lot of people have seen it on my statements. They're like, what's this pay adjustment thing? And I realized that it's just a California thing. Why it's not like that across the states, I don't know. And I wish it was, because it sucks. Because I feel like that's personally putting a hurting on other states that don't have those laws, to where you just make what you make and that's it. And whether it's a high amount or a low amount, like that's it. There's nothing that comes in and saves you if you're not making the right amount. I mean, if you're making more, great. But it's when you're not making a lot, that's when it's a problem. So considering New York and the population and how flooded the market is, I would like to assume, and so many people without work and so many people doing DoorDash, I think it's going to put a really big dent in, or a much further dent in DoorDash's pocket in terms of making profits. So this is going to go one of two ways. It's either they're going to raise the fees with the customers, which is still a bad thing, or they're going to pay us less and less to cover those costs. Both of them are bad, because if they raise the fees that are already high with the customers, they're not going to have very many customers. They're going to lose customers because the wages, the cost is going to be way too high. It's already bad enough as it is, and I totally get it. Like, to be paying $12 and $13 and $14 for a number one from McDonald's on top of whatever the fees are. Now you're down there $20 for a number one from McDonald's. And it's like, I get it. And I then understand why most customers don't tip. Like, I get it at that point. Like, that's extreme. That's just ridiculous. Like I said, I don't consider this a luxury service. I really don't. Like, it's not something special. I mean, there's a lot of people that order it. There's a lot of drivers out there. This company is up and going. It's not luxury like that. It's just unfortunate that people aren't going to tip after having to pay $20 for a number one for McDonald's. So that's just kind of my take on how I feel. Now, don't quote me on that. It's just what I think is going to happen. So like I said, it's either they're going to raise the prices, the fees, and or the menu prices. I'm not sure where that money comes in, that they've added a premium to those meals, if it goes to DoorDash or if that's something the restaurant is charging. But I definitely know if it's not through that way, then they're definitely going to do it by the fees. So they're going to raise the cost of fees, which is then going to turn to customers slowly stop using DoorDash because it's going to get too high. And that's going to be for them to cover it. Or they're going to continue to chop at our base pay to cover these amounts that they're going to have to pay the New Yorkers on top of what they already have been doing for a couple of years with California. And that's going to be a lot of people. I mean, you got to really think New York and the size of New York and how many people are probably doing DoorDash to be guaranteed a certain wage per hour. And if they're not making that, I mean, they're going to cover it. I don't know how that part works. It's not exactly Prop 22, but it's similar to it. So that's going to be a lot of money that I can see why DoorDash and the companies are upset. Good for the New Yorkers. Like I said, I wish it was a guaranteed wage for everybody across the states, because then that would make it cool. But at that point, things would be so expensive, it wouldn't even be funny anymore. So with that said, I don't know. Just tell me what you guys think about that, or what you feel is going to happen once this New York thing, if it hasn't already started, is going to do to either our pay or to the customers. And it's a bad thing either way. Like I said, the customers will either pay, they're going to start overpaying even more than what they're already paying, which is probably going to be some customers that aren't going to be ordering DoorDash anymore, which is then going to put it hurting on the drivers because there's not going to be as many orders. And it was already bad as it was. I think it's a flooded market everywhere. So we're making less and less and less. Some are making more. I mean, I make great money. So I was like, I can't really complain. But I feel for the ones out there that aren't making the best of money or whatever it is. And this is just something that's been on my mind, like how much crazier are things going to get. I've already heard so many crazy things across the states from so many people and all my viewers and all my subscribers about what's what in these states and cities. Only to think that now New York is going to have to fork out X amount of money. They're going to have to come up with that money, and DoorDash is not going to lose any profits. I bet you that. So it's either the customer's either going to pay for it, or we're going to pay for it as drivers. And it just sucks. So with that said, I will leave you guys at that. I thought it would just be something that I'd discuss and talk to you about. But just comment down below and let me know what you think is going to happen when it comes to this New York thing, on top of the thing that they had to deal with Prop 22 here in California. What you think is going to happen. And I only hope for the best for everybody. I hope this doesn't mess anybody else's hustle up or make it worse, but it kind of is what it is out there. So while I'm always on the gist of positive and good news. This is something that I'm just not getting any good vibe about. So with that said, your boy C Moto, I will leave it at that. Until next time, people, I'm going here to pick up this order and get back to it. I will holler at you later. All right, peace out.